Hello everyone, so welcome back. So in the previous videos, we have seen how to create the stored procedure and how to drop the stored procedure and how to alter, right? So this is what we have discussed. Okay, so even we have discussed the stored procedure with the parameters also, right? So this is how we define. Okay, so by parameters and the variables have this at the rate prefix. Okay, so in their name. To execute, okay, so what we'll do, so of course we'll while calling the procedure name, we can just call the procedure name and pass the parameters, or else we can just type the execute or exe, right? So in the short form, right? So this is the other ways how we can just call the procedures with the parameters. Okay, so next, even we have seen to change the stored procedure, so we'll be using alter procedure statement, right? To delete the stored procedure, so we'll be using drop procedure name, right? So next we'll see how to encrypt. Okay, so why we need this encrypt. Okay, so let's understand that. Okay, so now if I just go to my SQL server, okay, so here, so let's first go to check whether if we are in the right direction. This is the what the data sample database programmatically. If I just store procedures are the two stored procedures. Okay, so first let's use this sample. Okay, so I'll just execute this query. So now so here, okay, so when I want to see the help text, so I have already told you about the help text, right? So if I just try to execute this, so I'll be getting the text format of the stored procedure, like whatever I've just the statement, SQL statement, the stored procedure will be able to see that, right? So with help of this sp help text. Okay, so to hide this, okay, so we'll be using something called encryption. Okay, so with encryption we can hide this. Okay, so if I just um, so we have this if I just call this stored procedure, so okay, so we are altering, we have this sp jaws get employees. Okay, so if I just try to alter this once again, let's see. Yeah, okay, so now if I just call this sp get employees, I'm getting this, right? So if even if I do sp execute, I'm getting this also, right? So if I want to change, okay, so if I want to hide this, so basically what we'll do, so we'll be adding something called encryption. Okay, so here we'll be adding with encryption. Okay, so if I just try to execute this once again, okay, so if I just call this store procedure, I'm getting. But if I just try to search for sp help text, okay, you can see so the text for the object sp get employees is encrypted. Okay, so this is all about the encryption, you can see. Okay, to encrypt the text of the stored procedure, use the with encryption option. Okay, it's not possible to view the text of an encrypted stored procedure. Okay, so we have seen about to change stored procedure, we'll be using alter procedure statement, and to delete stored procedure, we'll be using a drop procedure name, right? So this is all about the stored procedure with parameters. So now let's continue our discussion with the stored procedure, that is the output parameters. Okay, so we have seen whatever we have seen is input parameters, right? So we'll give input to the stored procedure. So output is like it will display the result. Okay, so it's not like even we'll discuss about the return also, we'll see the difference between the return and the output. But output is of course it will give a result to the user. Okay, so here you can see to create a store procedure with output parameter, we'll be using a keyword called output. Okay, okay, so output, then so let's try to execute and I'll explain this. Okay, so let's go here. Okay, so already we have get store procedure by a department. Okay, so let's create one more store procedure. Okay, so let's start here. So create procedure, sp get employee count by gender Okay, so here we'll take the two parameters. One is gender of n var char of 20 of employee count. Okay, so of integer type, but this will be output. Okay, so here let's start with as begin. So select count all from table employee. Let's end this. Okay, so here you can see, so here we are creating a stored procedure, right? So with help, the name is to get stored procedure by the count by gender. Okay, so we'll start with this. Okay, so count by gender in the sense, okay, so if I just try to execute only this, like select count star from table. So here, like from table employees, I'm getting it 10 because we have a 10 values there, right? So if I just want to have where gender is equal to male now. Okay, so if I just try to run this query, okay, so you can see I'm getting 7. So out of 10, okay, so we have a 7 males. Okay, so now I want to put it in this manner, right? So I want to put this in a stored procedure. Okay, so so where, so whatever, I don't want to hard code. So what so well, basically I'll be taking from the gender parameter, right? Gender parameter. Okay, and so what I want is, like, once I like where the gender is so whatever the parameter is passing, right? So so basically, so if I'm passing male, so the count of male, okay, so will be stored into this employee count parameter. Okay, so then I'll be printing that. Okay, so I'll write, then I'll explain. Okay, so here what I'll do, so basically before selecting, so here I'll just make use of this. I'm just initializing this. Okay, um, employee count. Okay, so should be equal to count of id, no need of everything, right? uh, Count of id. Okay, so here, so so of course, like so I've already created store procedure, so or else if I have already created store procedure, if I want to change make changes, then I need to use alter. Okay, remember that. So I have not run this, I've not yet created, I'm just executing. Okay, so basically, so now what I have done is, so here I have created a store procedure. So it will take two parameters. One is gender, okay, which is the input, and we have one output parameter. So how will you define output parameter? By mentioning this output. Okay, so our query is, okay, so we'll be selecting the gender. Okay, so based on the gender, so while calling the store procedure, I'll pass a parameter called gender, and the number of count. Okay, so the count of that particular gender. Okay, so will be initialized and stored in the employee count. Okay, so now if I just try to execute this, okay, uh, scalar variable, incorrect syntax near employee count, employee count as begin select must declare scalar variable employee count. Okay, so here okay, fine. Okay, so what I'll do is, so first we need to declare. Okay, so employee count. Okay, so first I'm getting some error here. So at 102 state procedure employee line 3, incorrect syntax at employee count, employee, so everything is correct. So from at the rate gender, So here I forgot to put the comma. Okay. Yeah. So our query is executed, right? Okay. So now, so that's what I have done. If you see here, okay. So I've created a store procedure, okay. So where I will be displaying only, I want to count the gender part, okay. So to execute store procedure with output parameters, okay. So first I need to declare, because I'm just here I have just said that this employee count is output, right? So it will display. So I want to initialize it, right? So basically, it's like I'm just declaring that employee count is integer data type, and I want to execute. This is how I execute. So we know how to call the store procedure, right? So I'm just executing the store procedure and passing the gender, that is male. And here already I have initialized. So employee count, I'm just telling this is a output parameter. So if I just try to print the employee counts, I am able to get the count of male. Okay, so let's try to do that. Okay, so let's declare. So declare employee total as integers. So this has to be same. So whatever the you have declared the data type, okay, same data type should be here. Okay, so then execute by gender. I'll just pass male, comma, and employee total. Okay. Okay, so first I'll not mention this is output. I'll just give as employee total. Okay, so and print at employee total. Okay, so first I'll give output, then we'll understand. So here I'll just mention this is a output parameter. Okay, so now let's try to execute this. Okay, so you can see I'm getting 7. Okay, so why, of course, like when we checked here, like so there were totally 7 male employees, right? So for example, okay, so if I just remove, if I'm not mentioning this output, if I try to call this, you can see, so I'm not getting any message, because so I need to declare that this is the output parameter. Okay, so this is how we call the store procedure with output parameters. Okay, so for example, like there could be some use cases. Okay, you want to if you want to remove here, okay, instead of this, okay, you can just try to add the conditions. Okay, so like if okay, so if at employee total is null, then do what, then print at employee total is a null value. Else, okay, you can add the conditions in this manner. Else print at employee total is not null. Okay, okay, so if I just try to call this once again, okay, must declare the scalar variable at employee count, sorry, employee total. Okay, so let's try to run this. Okay, so you can see, so it's null. Okay, because here we're not mentioning it as output, right? So if I just try to put the output here, okay, so we are declaring that is output parameter and try to run once again. Okay, so you can see, so we are getting employee total is not null. Okay, so this way you can just try to alter and try to create the suppressor with output parameters. Fine. So next, so now let's move on. Okay, so next, so there are some useful system stored procedures. Okay, so we have something called sp store procedure underscore help. Okay, then we pass procedure name. So this will view the information about the store procedure, like parameter names, like data types. Okay, so and sp underscore help can used with any database objects like tables, views. Okay, store procedure triggers, right? So alternatively, even you can just press alt plus f1 when the name of the object is highlighted. Okay, so let's try to execute this and check. Okay, so if I just we just give sp underscore help and the store procedure which is now created. Okay, so that is okay. So as soon as I run this, okay, so you can see, so I'll be getting all the information like what is the name of the store procedure and the owner, then the type is store procedure and when what was created, and what is the parameter names. We have two parameters inside that of what type. Okay, so of a character and integer, the length. Okay, so then parameter order. Okay, so you can see all the basic information can be can get with the help of sp underscore help. Okay, so next we have sp help text. We have already seen this, right? So to view the text of the store procedure. So next we have sp underscore depends. Okay, so this will show all the dependencies of the store procedure. Okay, so this system sp is very useful, especially if you want to check if there are any store procedure that are referencing a table that you are about to drop. Okay, so for example, so if I just try to check sp depends. Okay, so sp underscore depends. Okay, so let's try to run this. I execute this. You can see, so it depends on this employee table. Okay, so you can see all the details here about its status. Okay, so this is all about some of the useful stored stored procedures.